Welcome everybody to today's webinar. The title of today's webinar is Breaking Down Silos, Material Planning Tactics for Supply Chain Excellence and Cost Savings. Before introducing my colleagues, I would like to let you know that you can write any question that comes to your mind in the chat or send it to us in privately. And at the end of the webinar, my colleagues will take some time to answer to your question. Okay, let me introduce you the speakers of today then. Today's speakers are Patrick Achatz, Director of Software Sales, and Marcus Koch, Manager Software Sales. And before giving the stage, I will give you a really quick overview of the main highlights of today's webinar. So we will basically introduce which one are the most pressing challenges in material planning today. And then jumping on a really quick overview on, okay, which kind of optimization opportunities there are out there in order to fight and overcome such challenges. And we will then close up on the main topic of the webinar that is really but also highlighting the importance to bridge this gap that there is between material planning and transportation itself. Okay, but enough talking from my side. I will give the stage to Marcus.
Thank you, Greta. So for the beginning, as Greta mentioned, we want to set the stage, to have a look at first what kind of challenges we see with our clients, but also in the market with regards to material planning. So there are obvious some common challenges, which you also see on the right, which are pretty obvious and then which are probably facing material planners on a day-to-day basis. So that's at first, changing demand patterns or also unpredictable demands on the client side, customer side, which is then also impacting the material ordering and also material planning behavior of the different planners. Here we also have then often seen the situations that in short-term changes or also in situations where you have big fluctuations, there's often a back and forth coordination needed in order to cope with those changes. And this often also causes some challenges, in particular when it's then also correlating with ineffective ways of communication. Further, couple of our clients and also from customer projects, we have seen that here also in this material planning processes, there are often manual processes executed, like working in Excel in order to determine, for example, right sizes, or also to addressing, for example, already transportation constraints, which is kind of inefficient and could be also then improved by more optimizing those. In addition to these common challenges, there are also like hidden challenges for the material planning. In using like different data systems in companies or corporations, there's often the challenge. So what is the right data source, or what's the actual truth for the data? So here we have the challenge to keep this data consistent across the systems, which is also then impacting the planning efficiency. Further, we also see that some of the departments are more focusing on their topics. So there's a siloed planning approach and also execution, especially also between material and transportation planning, which leads also to additional inefficiencies. And also, creates a lack of transparency, visibility in regards to transportation, in particular for material planners. So where they could also improve their planning result and adding an overall benefit to the business. And last, there's obviously always the high customer expectation, which addresses the main point, like to keep the customers happy and to fulfill their demand. But now enough for the challenges. So Patrick, what are some kind of strategies and also approaches we discuss with our clients in order to overcome those challenges?
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Greta, for the introduction. Also, thank you, Marcus, and welcome from my side as well. So now that we've looked at some of the key challenges in material planning, let's talk about practical strategies we can use to address these issues. So first, we need to ensure data consistency across systems. By keeping key parameters like safety stock levels, transit times, and delivery frequencies aligned, we can avoid discrepancies and make planning more reliable. Another important strategy is integrated and collaborative planning. Using integrated sales and operations planning platforms allow different teams to work together in real time, improving visibility and enabling cross-functional decision-making. Then there's the use of interfaces to streamline communication. Electronic data interchange, or EDI, can automatically transfer informations such as demands, orders, and call-offs, minimizing manual data entry and reducing the chance of errors. And lastly, and this is where we're going to dive a bit deeper today, consider transportation constraints. Traditionally, material and transportation planning have worked in silos. By increasing visibility between these functions, we can optimize demands with transportation in mind, creating plans that are both actionable and cost-effective. These strategies are essential for overcoming material planning challenges, and FourFlow Toro can help implement them seamlessly. Now let's dive into how Toro specifically addresses these areas. So let's see how integrated transportation into material planning can create more visibility and actionable plans. With FourFlow Toro, we add an automated optimization step directly into your planning process. Here's how it works. We start with a standard material requirement plan, but then Toro steps in with demand optimization. This means call-offs are optimized from the start, taking transportation constraints into account early in the process. After that, transportation planning aligns perfectly with these optimized call-offs, allowing for smoother shipment creation. This integration ensures that material and transportation planning work together seamlessly. By automating this step, we're not only improving efficiency, but also reducing costs and emissions by optimizing each step along the way. So, and now we're going to have a look at it. Let's look at the video.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick. So for the video, we will show you a small system demo that we have recorded in advance. And for the setup itself, you will see a workflow where FourFlow Toro is integrated with an SAP system in order to optimize the call-offs which have been generated by the MRP run in SAP. But nevertheless, the tool itself, it can integrate with any ERP system or can also be used by a direct file upload and download. But let's now see how Toro works in action.
Optimize transportation in the material planning stage with FourFlow Toro. Reduce transportation costs and ensure reliable planning while preserving optimal inventory level. FourFlow Toro is a plug-in software solution that optimizes transportation in MRP. It adjusts material call-offs to optimize shipments and maximize transportation utilization.
Main optimization input for FourFlow Toro is, besides material master data, packaging data, and transportation data, the outcome of the MRP run in SAP. Here, exemplary shown for the material Toro rows. You can see the different determined scheduled lines with related delivery date and related quantity in order to fulfill the production demand. This data and output is automatically transferred to our FourFlow Toro application via standardized interfaces. So when going to our FourFlow Toro web UI, you can directly see the results of the optimization run. At the top, there's a summary of main KPIs related to cost savings, trucks saved, average utilization, and CO2 emissions savings. Below, there's a detailed overview of future proposed shipments with related shipment costs, new delivery date proposed by Forflotoro, and the results of increased utilization parameters. When focusing on the optimization proposals, you can also here have a detailed look on which scheduled lines are assigned to this proposed shipments, showing you the related shipment scheduling line ID, material, the related quantity, the old delivery date, and the new proposed delivery date by Forflotoro in order to increase utilization and realize transportation cost savings. Users can now select those proposed optimized shipments and confirm this result of Forflotoro. This process can also be fully optimized. After confirmation and accepting this optimization proposals, we can finish the review of the results, and with that, the results and the changed delivery dates and related quantities are automatically sent back to SAP. So for this example here on Material Toro 6, which had for those two scheduled lines initial delivery dates on the 22nd and 27th, now both are scheduled for the 22nd. The new delivery date should be also be visible in our SAP Transaction Mass MDO4. So after updating the results, we can see that the scheduled lines, which was scheduled for the 27th, is now moved upwards to the 22nd. And with that, the updated and optimized results are already here in SAP and can be sent out via the subsequent work process to the suppliers in the call-offs.
Reduce transportation costs by as much as 12%. Increase asset utilization by up to 20%. With fewer trucks used, you can even reduce carbon emissions by over 10%. You're only one step away from a resilient, cost-efficient transportation network.
Great. So that's an overview of what the tool can do. In addition to that, we also have some dashboards in the UI. So that also helps, again, to increase the transparency and also the visibility for the planners as they are able to deep dive, for example, on certain materials or suppliers to see how the results and also the planning pattern and delivery pattern has changed for these suppliers or materials, and allow for further analysis and deep dives. But now let's see how that also translates to our customers. So therefore, we brought two case studies with us, and I would start with the first one. For the first case study, we implemented Forflotoro for a big German automotive manufacturer who is operating worldwide. And here we were able to integrate Forflotoro directly to their ERP system. So to have an automated workflow to optimize their inbound supply chain, and here in particular to optimize their full truckloads by looking at the call-offs and shifting basically the delivery dates to an earlier date so that we can consolidate the different scheduled lines or call-offs into the same shipment to improve the truck utilization. With that, it was possible to increase or to reduce transportation costs by 17% and also have positive impact on sustainability by having less trucks on the road and with that reducing carbon emissions by 12%. Patrick, would you go to explain the second case study?
Okay, sure. Let's take a look at case study number 2, which involves a European manufacturer in the FMCG sector. This company has a complex distribution center consisting 4 of the central distribution centers and 15 regional distribution centers. 4Flow Toro was implemented to optimize transportation across this outbound network, specifically aiming to break down silos between order and transportation planning. By enhancing transparency and reducing manual work, Toro allowed for a more streamlined, cohesive planning process. As a result, this manufacturer saw significant improvements, a 15% reduction in transportation costs and a 21% increase in planning efficiency. This case demonstrates how Toro can create impactful efficiency by integrating transportation into planning and automating key processes. So let's switch to the next slide. Perfect. So as we look to the future, material planning will require an even more holistic approach to stay competitive and efficient. Here are some guiding principles to consider. First, communication and collaboration planning are key. Effective material planning requires everyone to work together seamlessly, from procurement to logistics to production. Second, aim for a good balance between manual and automated planning. While automation brings speed and accuracy, human insight and oversight are still crucial in decision making, especially in complex scenarios. Next, don't underestimate the impact of transportation on material planning. Transportation factors should be integrated into planning processes to create a realistic, actionable plan that minimize costs and meet delivery expectations. Finally, it's important to broaden your horizon. Embrace innovative technologies. Look at new ways to solve persistent challenges and stay open to continuous improvement. With these principles, companies can create a more resilient, flexible, and efficient material planning process that's ready for future challenges. So, and thank you for joining us today. We hope this session has given you valuable insights into how 4Flow Toro can help break down silos in your own supply chain and uncover savings potential. But of course, before we wrap up, we'd love to answer any questions you might have. Feel free to ask anything about the presentation or the use cases or how Toro might fit into your specific needs. So, Gregor, maybe we have some questions so far.
Yes. So, yes, and just one more thing. So before starting with the question, in case, so you basically saw what we did in the webinar today, and what we put together is also like a really cool tool that just in few clicks allows you to calculate your savings. So as you see in the screen, while you're writing your question, feel free to just scan this QR code and have a look of what is your actual potential. And indeed, if you have any other question about it, contact us directly, as Patrick was saying as well. Okay, but the actual question about the webinar. So let's see what we are getting. Okay, I will go with the first question. That is, what are the main challenges you encounter during your projects? No, who of you will answer this question?
I can answer that question. I think there are like two different kinds of problem challenges that we encounter during our projects. So at first, there's obviously, as the solution is addressing different stakeholders, also different people and also different departments involved. So let it be the material planning, obviously, but also transportation planning. But the solution is also touching then the IT department, the logistics department. So it's important to get also the different parties and also stakeholders involved early in the process in the discussions, so that everyone gets familiar with the idea and also with the benefits that this solution can bring to the overall business. On the other hand, and I think that's a quite usual challenge when you introduce software solutions, it's, for example, the data perspective and data availability. Obviously, for planning, we need to have consistent master data and packaging data, and that's something that needs to be checked with the client. And also here we can support in, for example, improving data quality with our data science team, or also guiding the clients and also our partners for this project, for this process. But nevertheless, with the tool itself, we are always quite flexible also in the implementation approach. So it definitely makes sense to, for example, start with a smaller scope in order to then continuously enhance, for example, suppliers or materials that are optimized with Forfotoro, and meanwhile, and in addition, improve data quality and consistency.
Thank you, Marcus, for the answer. Let's go with the next question then. You mention automotive and FMCG. Are these the only two industries that are the target of the solution itself?
Okay, maybe I'm going to start to answer the question. Marcus, and you, if you have anything to add, just jump in.
Sure.
But mainly we can say, like, every company who has like supply chain and tries to reduce transportation costs has a potential use case for Toro. Of course, we need to be specific about the use cases. We saw inbound, outbound. We also have like intercompanies transportation use cases. So we are very flexible. We have customers in the FMCG, automotive, also manufacturing and pharma sector. So I guess Toro is quite flexible in kind of the use cases. But if you have any specific questions, we surely can have like a deep dive call and figure out how Toro can help you solve your issues and your challenges.
Perfect. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, let me check if there are some more questions coming in. Yes, okay. So how was the feedback from the material planners after the solution was implemented?
Yeah, I can take that question. Obviously, for the material planners is also something new because it broadens in the end their horizon and also the constraints that they will consider during the planning process. But in the end, overall, the feedback was very good because they also see the benefit in integrating these two disciplines or departments and having more an integrated planning approach instead of a siloed planning approach. And it also helps them to actually get a little bit more visibility on what's the impact of their planning tasks on transportation, but also then vice versa, what's the impact on transportation aspects on their planning. So overall, the planning, the feedback was very good, as I mentioned, as it also enhances then the planning quality of the material planners. And obviously, with an automated tool, it also then improves their efficiency when using automated solutions instead of like manual planning processes.
Thank you, Marcus. Okay, another question coming up. Which kind of data input is needed in order to start implementation?
So from a data input perspective, so what do we need? So obviously we need to have the call-off data or order data because that's the target or the objective of the tool, what should be optimized in the end. And in order to do that, we would need to have some kind of master data or packaging data so that we understand based on the order quantities what needs to be shipped in terms of weight, volume, or loading meter, so that we can also then, and that's in the additional data part, we can match it or the tool plans it in accordance to the available capacities of trucks or containers. So also here we would need to know what kind of containers and truck types should be considered. And with regards to that, also the related capacities in terms of weight, volume, and loading meter. But always, actually, this is like kind of data which should be already available with most of the clients to obviously then a certain degree of quality and consistency. But in general, this kind of data is available in the ERP systems. So also here, there's no big showstopper in order to introduce this kind of a solution.
Thank you very much again. Okay, I don't see any question pumping up at the moment. So if you have additional questions, feel always free to contact us directly. But in the meanwhile, thank you again for attending the webinar. Thank you for staying with us so far. And I wish you all a really good rest of the day.